Welcome back. It's Youth's Let's Talk show, and we are delving into ministry and academics. And remember, just before we went for the break, we were looking at them who gets to a point in an academic level, and then they say they have been called into ministry and they quit academics. And Professor, you are just helping us to understand the ministry, the quality of the ministry now between Paul and Peter.
All right, my daughter.
Yes.
Now let us get back to the point.
Yes.
We would have expected a lot from Peter,
who walked with
who
Jesus
was an
himself.
original eyewitness of Jesus, who walked with him, and he was a close friend. He was in the inner circle of the three. Okay? For 3 years, he is with Jesus. He is the inner circle. Even when Jesus went to the mountain and was transfigured, Peter was there. We would have expected much from John, because he is the beloved disciple,
The beloved.
who was always in the bosom of Jesus. We would have expected much from James. All these men are the inner circle of Jesus. But when you compare the volumes that they wrote, and you compare with what Paul wrote,
writes.
Paul wrote almost a half of the New Testament. Peter wrote only 2 books.
Yet he only encountered Christ in a vision.
Peter only wrote 2. John wrote the Gospel, then the 3 letters, and the Revelation. Those are approximately 5 books. But even the 3rd letter is too tiny. 3rd John and 2nd John.
Yes.
James writes only 1. Now, even if you add all their material, you don't amount to what,
less to what Paul
wrote. Yet would have expected these people who were the original eyewitnesses to have paid a lot, because they were with him. They saw a lot. They had a lot. They knew much.
They experienced a lot.
But they had no way of expressing it. Now, Paul just encounters encounters along the road. But he pens down a lot because he is learned. He can relate it with the mosaic law, interpret it well, and pens it down. Because he is learned. He is a scholar.
Wow.
Now, this is the problem we're having. That those people who are running away from education are hurting themselves, hurting their families, and hurting their ministries as well.
Terrible.
There are some areas that will never open up until you are educated, however anointed you are. I'm telling you, there are some places you will never reach unless you are learned. And they will take you there and accept you because you are learned.
You are first learned.
You are learned. And let me tell you, even in Uganda now, when you go to register a ministry, or if you want to get the certificate that allows you to wed without a diploma of theology, you are not allowed. That is the government's policy. If you don't have a diploma of theology, you don't wed couples.
Okay.
Now get me. You preach to them the exalted Christ Jesus. You've cast away the demons in them. You've pastored them for maybe 5 years, 10 years. They are now ready for marriage. But
you have to call someone else.
Your hands are handcuffed.
Tied.
You cannot wed them. Or they cannot issue a license to wed. Why? Because we don't give away diplomas just because you are speaking in tongues. You have to come and sit in class. We teach you. We train you. Then we release you.
Wow.
And the diploma in one of the colleges I teach is 2 years. You have to do with us 36 courses. My engineer, the church engineer,
yes,
is very learned. He's at the church in Guinea. But when he applied, he's also a pastor. When he applied to wed, he was denied and told, go and bring a diploma, a certificate, a diploma. And we trained him. He has just graduated a few months back. Now he can be given a certificate.
The certificate. Wow.
So those people who are not interested in education, they are just finding silly excuses. And let me tell you,
yes,
the devil has lied to them. And in time to come, they will be ineffective. They will not be able to accomplish or to get their goals met. Number two, we can still flip back a little. If you say you are now in ministry all the time, do you preach from morning until evening? Or until you go to bed?
No.
Church services have a short period of time when they are running. Even counseling, it has some sessions.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
To me, I'm one person who doesn't believe I should spend the whole day in the office counseling people. After teaching you, I expect less counseling. And then, if I'm to do counseling, if people are not turning up, then I go and do other businesses. Right now, I run a boutique. I sell clothes, men's wear, shoes, trousers, shirts, t-shirts, and the like. I sell them. I'm a professor, but I sell them. I told you I cultivate.
Yes,
and Pastor Tari has ever witnessed, or I shared with him some of my pictures of the garden while I was cultivating watermelons. And yet I'm land. I rear pigs at home. And yet I am land. I teach in the Bible colleges and universities. I'm a father. And I get quite time with my children and with my wife.
Wow.
It is all together about knowing how you program yourself. You cannot claim that God has called me to go and serve. And every moment I'm serving. No, you're a fool. What will become of your family?
Exactly.
What will become of your children? So you are ever rattling around, and some of them are just disobedient. They don't want to submit to authority, so they are just wandering around in the claim of preaching. No. It doesn't work like that. Even Paul was a tent maker. He would earn.
And this tent making comes from my academic qualification.
From the skills. From the skills he has. From the skills he has. He was skilled. He was trained in that. So I want to appeal to you, youth. Don't be deceived. Don't allow the devils to speak to you and you think God is speaking to you. I told you I was an ordained minister. I was a pastor when I went back for my bachelor's. And let me tell you something.
Yes.
I graduated doing my doctoral program. One lady is a mother, is a grandmother, 7-8 years. She is a designer. Okay?
Yes.
And she has graduated with a doctorate at the age of 78. I graduated with another person who was 93 years old.
Wow.
93 years old.
So it's never too late.
It is never too late. Professor Chitio, who is also a bishop, whom we had our professorial elevation together, Grace Chitio, working with Makerere University, is 60 and above. We have just received our elevation this year, together with him. My son, spiritual son, but at the same time who doubles to be my brother, my eldest brother, Professor Chitiwa, is very busy with a lot of issues. Sometimes sits with government officials in offices and meetings, making policies and so forth. We have just graduated with him. And he's a pastor, he's a bishop, overseeing an entire district.
Wow. Now, Professor Mwanguzi,
Yes,
there is a view, I think this one is still a student, and is concerned that I think his concern is just an issue of balancing ministry and academics. He says he cannot, he is poor in class, and therefore he cannot stand boldly and speak about Jesus to the fellow students because they beat him in academics. How can he balance so that he picks up in academics, so that when he stands, like you are saying, when I stand, when I am informed, when I am knowledgeable, I stand a better chance of preaching this Christ in a better way?
Now, first of all, according to the Bible says that God is the fountain of wisdom, and therefore the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. James wrote and said, if you lack wisdom, ask and it shall be given to you, because God gives it generously. I want to encourage you, my brother, if you are performing poorly academically, number one, don't lose heart. Don't lose heart. Number two, try to connect with those people who are academically excellent. I remember when I was doing my bachelor's degree, most of our professors were Canadians and Americans. So in class we had some students who had a problem of the American and Canadian accent. We also had a teacher from Romania. He was called Valpriori from Romania. So their accent was quite hard. Now, some of the students were on the verge of being expelled from the Bible college because ours, the grading was very high. Once you got 69, it amounted to a failure.
69%?
69 was a failure.
Wow.
So you have to get 70
and above.
Now,
and you know, in Kenya, 70 is already a first class.
You guys are just joking. Now, they said some of the students, one of them is a pastor in a place called Bundibujo. He's called Cosmas Ndabugira. They referred them to me. I was a first student. I helped them, and they were able to complete 4 years and graduate with a bachelor's degree. At one time, Cosmas was awarded the most improved student of the college. Now, such a person, number one, he should know that, first of all, concentrate in class, two, revise, and I would advise you, revise as soon as you have just studied those notes. You will be able to remember almost everything. And do the assignments in time. Don't procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it the other day. Then secondly, know that there is a difference between academics and ministry. Now, when you are preaching to them, you are not preaching to them about academics. You are preaching to them about Jesus. I remember in the Bible, in the book of John chapter 4, there is a lady by the name the Samaritan lady. They don't call her name. We don't know what her name was.
Yes.
We only know that she dwelt at Samaria.
Yes.
That was her area of residence. Now, she had a wrong history because she was an adulteress.
Yes.
Who had been with many men. Even the time when she met Jesus, the Bible says she went at noon, when no one was expected to be at the well.
At the well.
Why? Because her reputation was bad. She never wanted to share her life with others. She never wanted to get involved with others because they would maybe pinpoint at her. But then she finds Jesus at the well. Just speaks to her. She goes. She utilizes even her failures as a point of witnessing. She tells the city, come and see this man. He has told me everything I have ever done. Surely she's utilizing her failures, her mistakes, to be the ground for evangelism.
Wow.
So I cannot believe you are ever testify or to witness to Christ because these students are more clever than you. Christ's love is beyond. Christ loves both those we may deem to be fools or not very clever, and those who are clever. Christ loves every person, whether tall or short, whether
fat or thin.
We no longer call them fat, we say big. The Americans hate that word. Once you speak to an American, you say you are fat, she will slap you.
Whether big or small.
Whether big or small. Whether brown
or dark
like me. Whether uneducated or educated. Christ loves all those people. He died for them. So you shouldn't be afraid to testify because they are beating you academically. They are beating you academically, but then you are beating them by God's principles. They are, by the way, let me tell you, we have many educated men, but who are tormented by demons. Academics cannot cast away demon. We have lawyers who have failed because of demons. In my area I come from, there is a medical doctor, a graduate, but he is a drunkard. There is another younger man by the names of Jonathan Khisa. Jonathan graduated with a first-class degree in law from Netherlands. He's a drunkard and wasting his life.
Wow.
So this is quite different. Yes, they are beating you academically, but you are also strong spiritually. Utilize that. There are some things you can share with them that can help them even to overcome their challenges. Yes, they are wise intellectually. Upstairs, in Uganda we say upstairs. Upstairs it is good. But when actually they are having issues, having anxiety, having problems. And those problems can only be solved by sharing with them the gospel. So I believe you still have an answer to them. They have problems.
So your message to this young boy outside there is that don't give up.
No, don't give up. Speak about Christ, that to me you have to be academically excellent. No. Although at some areas there is a need for academic excellence. All right?
Yes.
But just simply preaching to someone Christ's love and so forth doesn't need much academic excellence.
Okay,
but when it comes to, like, to be biblical interpretation, not to be misled, not to be deceived, people who twist scriptures and so forth, then you need to be academically excellent to know how you interpret it. There are some courses that we offer in universities, colleges, like apologetics, hermeneutics, ABCD.
Now, just on the same, there is this viewer, this youth outside there who is still, like, is also a student, and they are like, can you substitute, you know, when we are preparing maybe for exams, and you'll get some are just in prayer, praying and praying. I pray that I'm going to get an A. I'm praying that I am going to excel. And yet others are studying. Now the question here is, can you substitute studying or hard work with the prayer?
Listen to me. When I was in college, doing my 4 years for a bachelor's degree, because I did a bachelor's degree for 4 years, bachelor's of theology.
Yes.
Our professors will tell us, when you are going for exams, don't go into prayer nights. Don't go into prayer mountains to pray and fast and do what? Go home. After Sunday service, if you've gone for the Sunday service, after the Sunday service is over, go and pick your lunch, revise, rest.
Be sober.
Be sober. Now, you cannot expect that by prayer, things will just come into your mind and remember them. That's magic. That's sorcery. God doesn't work like that.
In Kiswahili we say uganga.
Uganga. So, the best way I can tell you, because to me I've been in school for many years. I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of courses. And I give in my time to study. Like when I was doing my doctorate, I would pray with my family. They go to bed at around 10.
And then you sit on
your laptop. I sit on my laptop from 10 up to 5. or sometimes 6. I'm busy doing research, typing, editing, proofreading, doing ABCD. And listen to me.
Yes.
Every time I would go to present or to defend my work,
Yes.
the panel would clap for me.
Wow.
Sometimes they would fire a lot of questions to others. When it came to me, I would have digested almost everything. So I give them a thesis brief. There's a paper we call a thesis brief, which summarizes what is the content within your work. I give it to them, so they are following me, and I also give them the book that I've made. Now I just look at it to guide me. But everything has been internalized, so I can deliver everything where they would just say, oh, stop there, that is enough.
It's enough. So you are out there and you are a young boy, you are a youth outside there, and you want to substitute prayer with hard work. It doesn't work like that.
Work.
Don't be the one to cause the name of the Lord to be maligned because you are failing. Hard work is hard work.
Remember, we always tell people
Yes.
that you cannot substitute proper planning for prayer. Nor can you substitute prayer for proper planning.
Every part has its own section.
When you do things wrongly, I assure you, you will receive wrong results.
Wow.
So everything has to be handled correctly, has to be done correctly. If it is prayer, you pray. If it is
to
study, you study.
Get into books.
Go into books.
Don't miss classes.
Let me tell you one thing.
Yes.
When I was doing my bachelor's of theology, and remember, this is a Bible college, which would have been supporting us to be more in ministry.
In ministry.
Now listen to me. If you came into class 5 minutes after the lecture has begun, you were late. You come in after 10 minutes, you are absent.
Wow.
You just 2 late equals 1 absence. And every quarter would be 11 weeks. So you make sure that within 11 weeks, you don't register 3 absences. And an absence would mean you either came in late 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes twice. They add that and it accumulates 10 minutes. So you are absent. Now, you couldn't say, I was preaching and I came in late. I was preaching and I was not able to attend the lectures. Once you get 3 absences, you have failed the course.
Wow.
You will do it another year.
Another year.
And at the expense of your pocket.
Wow, time really fails us. I wish we had another hour just to still discuss the same. But I hope you have been helped outside there, my fellow youth, that there are things that we cannot just substitute. If it is prayer, it is prayer. And if it's hard working in academics, it is hard working. We cannot substitute. And remember, we were told that there are battles that are only won just because academically you are So at this moment we want to come to the end of the show. Thank you for having kept in touch.